Hey guys and girls, how's it going? Hope you guys are having a great week. So I'm back today with another video. This one generally is just kind of giving my first impressions, sort of like a review. So over the last kind of week, now and again, in between resting my shoulder, I've been having a go at the new Battlefield 1 beta, which is an open beta. If you haven't checked it out, go and download it, guys, whether you're on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. It is a lot of fun. And there's no set ending date on the beta at the moment. They haven't announced when that's gonna sort of end. So definitely take advantage of it while you can, guys, to check out this game. But I want to give my general first impressions on it. Now, I have to say, before going into this beta, I was excited. I like the fact that they're going back to the World War I setting. So for those of you that might know me or might know anything about me, I'm a massive history geek. I love history, absolutely love it. So I thought the setting of World War I was an incredibly interesting setting, and I like the fact that they're kind of Battlefield's becoming kind of unique in that they're sort of turning away from that sort of modernization of first-person shooters that we've seen with the likes of, you know, Titanfall with mechs and jetpacks and running along walls, and now obviously Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which is going into space. Now, I've got nothing against those games, guys. I think they're great in their own right. And both games look interesting, but I really like the fact that Battlefield are going back to World War One, and I thought that was a pretty gutsy decision on the part of the developers to decide to go back in time, because obviously the weapons at this time are a lot more difficult to handle. They have a lot more recoil, and they definitely have character to them. So let me give my impressions on the game. Well, I have to say, when I first started playing it, I found it really difficult, and not in a bad way, in a good way, because obviously this is going back to World War One. So a lot of the weapons that you use, there are bolt action rifles. They have a lot of kickback. They're not the kind of weapons where you can just hold down the trigger button and expect to mow into the enemy. They're very, very tricky to use, and you have to really, you know, they require skill. And each of the different weapons, from, you know, the sniper rifle that can pretty much take anybody out in one shot. It is a beast of a sniper rifle, but each of the weapons are very different and unique, and I really enjoyed checking each of them out. But I did find the gunplay very, very challenging, and not in a bad way. But for those of you that perhaps are not that familiar with first-person shooters or haven't played any of the Battlefield games previously, you might find this a little bit more tricky. The combat seems to be much more of a distance kind of first-person shooter, whereas Titanfall 2 and, you know, I assume Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, the movement is so quick, because of the ability to run along walls, because of the jetpacks. The movement is so quick that a lot of the combat is very rapid, very sudden, very kind of in your face, and you can literally just run into somebody, shotgun them, or shoot them, run away, melee them, that sort of thing, especially with the new Titanfall 2. So Battlefield 4 is very different kettle of fish. It's a very different vibe, very different feel. It feels a lot more strategic. Now, this can be seen in the two game modes that you got to play in it, and they're very much, you know, Battlefield is very much a team-based game. Now, one of the things I really liked about the beta was the inclusion of battalions, which is, you know, very traditional to World War One. So it looks like, you know, you're going to be it's going to be a typical 64 player map, you know, 32 versus 32, but within that you actually have your smaller battalions. So what I like about that is you can have a group of friends, 5 friends, 6 friends, and you can actually go into a battalion together where your overall group score will count, and you can play objectives basically. And it's not just simply, you know, a kill ratio, kill streak kind of game. You actually get bonuses and points for taking out targets, for following objectives, and you can actually give instructions to your teammates on what to follow on. So I like that little dynamic. Now, the character of the game as well, it feels very accurate. Now, the setting was in the Sinai Desert, in the Middle East. So I think it was pretty much Turkey versus Britain, you know, versus England in the war. And just some of the sayings that the troopers were coming out with, some of their wordings were, you know, were really traditional, really true to the time. So, you know, for example, right now we might say, you know, Tango, Charlie, you know, Alpha. But at that time, you know, they would say apples and pears. And I like the little references there. I like those little touches to it as well. The map itself was absolutely huge. Was really nice map. It had lots of, you know, varied sort of terrain in terms of long open stretch desert areas where you do very much feel at risk of snipers, and you know, you feel vulnerable. So if you are an infantry, then it's much better for you to be in more sort of built up areas with the different kind of houses that you could go into and that kind of thing. But yeah, I enjoyed the gunplay. I started to get the hang of it as I was playing more matches. Now I have to say, I'm not a brilliant Battlefield 1 player. I'm not, you know, up there with the likes of them, and I was averaging kind of a crappy sort of 6 or 7 kills per match, so not great. But I have to say, I did get better as I was playing it, and I got more familiar with the weapons and how they handled, and I really enjoyed them. But for me, the thing I really enjoyed about this beta were the vehicles. The vehicles in this game are fantastic. They each handle very differently. They add a lot of character to it, and it's really enjoyable. What I like as well was the inclusion of horses as one of the vehicles that you can ride. I love the fact that they have that in there, and this is the first, I think this is the first Battlefield game where we have horses as rideable kind of vehicles. And yeah, I really like the horses. Now the horses were pretty tough, and you could basically shoot people from horseback. You also had like a saber where you could do a strike from above. If you know, sandstorms would come in as well. There is very much dynamic weather throughout the map, so you know, if sandstorm came in and you were on horseback, you definitely had an advantage. That was really fun. I loved being able to go into tanks. The tanks were really cool, but the tanks in the beta feel completely OP. It's really difficult to take down a tank. Obviously you don't have a rocket launcher or anything like that in the game, so the tanks feel very OP. You do have TNT, but your throw range on that is really short, and it's really difficult to actually plant traps for the tanks. So if you're in a tank, you're pretty beefy, you're quite strong, and you can actually fit, I think, 5 people in one of the bigger tanks, each of you manning a different kind of window or machine gun, the big cannon, driving the tank. So I really like that sort of group team dynamic to it. The tank was brilliant, really enjoyed it, but the part I enjoyed the most was the dogfighting, was the aerial combat. The planes in this game are fantastic. There are 3 different kinds of planes that you can fly around in, from a bomber to a fighter plane, you know, that kind of thing. And the planes do feel very vulnerable, obviously. They're the first kind of planes that were being used at this time, really, particularly for combat. And I love the fact that you can actually have 3 people on one of the planes. You can have, obviously, somebody flying the plane, which it does help. You can fly in first person or third person, so that third person really helps, definitely. But you can also have each person manning a different machine gun turret, either at the front of the plane or behind the plane, so you can use your friends to help you in dogfights, as well as if you're sort of doing aerial bombardments and trying to take out some of the troops on the ground. So the planes for me was the most fun, and they cycle quite nicely, and you basically jump into them from the map when you die, and you know, they respawn quite easily, and no, they're easy, they're quite easy to handle, and the movement's quite nice, and I really enjoyed it. So overall, what are my general impressions on Battlefield 1? Well, I actually really enjoyed it. It got me more excited for the game. I love the setting of Battlefield 1. I actually cannot wait to see some of the Western Front. I can't wait to see some of the big fights, like I hope we get to play like the Battle of the Somme or the Battle of Verdun or Vimy Ridge, which covers the Canadians. And there's lots of underground sort of tunnels as well in the trenches. I'm hoping we get to sort of go through those and explore those. Really excited to play more maps in the multiplayer, and I'm also really interested in the story mode and what the main campaign is going to be like. I'm very much looking forward to that. So yes, gunplay was great. There were some issues with the servers to start with, but this is a beta, guys, so it is very much a test, a trial for the developers, and there were some kind of DDoS attacks and hackers that were sort of bringing down the servers. So you know, I think it was only the first day. I think it was down for quite a while. It was like 10 hours or so, but it has improved as the weeks progressed, and they've obviously adapted to it. But yeah, you know, there are a few glitches, but that's to be expected. It is a beta. It's not a finished product at all completely, but what I have played so far, I've really enjoyed. I would have liked more maps. I would have liked to have checked out another map, but I can understand why they don't want to give too much away. Obviously, they want people to pre-order this game and buy it, and they don't want to give too much away. They want to leave some things as a surprise for when you buy the main game. But overall, Battlefield 1, yeah, I really enjoyed it. The more I played it, the more I enjoyed it, and yeah, it's definitely got me interested in the game. Now, whether or not I buy it on release, I don't know, because there's so many games coming out around that time that I want to play. I'm generally more of a story-based gamer, so I tend to gravitate towards story-based games when I'm spending my money. But, you know, I'm definitely going to pick it up at some point, and I'm definitely going to play it at some point. And, you know, if I had friends and other people playing it, my subscribers that played it, that wanted to play games together, then maybe I would be more inclined to buy it, but at full price. But we'll see. I might wait for it to come down in price a little bit more, wait to see what people say, wait till there are some more maps available as DLC or downloads, updates, that kind of thing. We'll see. I haven't decided yet whether I'm gonna get it on day one or not, but we'll see at a later point. But anyway, so far looks good. Really enjoyed it. Let me know if you've actually played Battlefield 1, if you've had a go at the open beta and what you thought of it. Let me know in the comment section below. I'll be back again with more videos later, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying my content. If you are, and it's the first time that you've seen one of my videos and you enjoyed it and you'd like to see more, please go ahead and subscribe for more of that great stuff. Please hit the like button as always to show your support, and take care, guys and girls, and as always, happy gaming. Yeah.